From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Dressel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. And here we are. Hey. I made it.
I'm so happy.
I am too.
You couldn't miss it. Hey, and I will say this just really fast. This might be a two-parter at some point. Like, there's so much to cover on
this AI thing. We've been on a kick with AI now for about 4 weeks.
No, I mean I know, but
well, I mean because of the advancements. I mean, it seems like we had a ton of advancements within just a month or two.
Okay, so we talked about this before the show. We said I think our first show was probably a year and a half ago. Remember, I was extremely terrified at the time. Larry came on.
Well, you and Larry both were scared.
And then it was like, you were like, whoa, the advancements in the last year. And we're like, yeah, the advancements in the last 3 weeks. Then we're like, oh man, the advancement in the last day. Like, oh wait, a new YouTube video just popped up for the Beatles. Oh my God.
I know.
It's like every second, it's insane.
Which for me, I love the Beatles stuff. I love, and like other bands are doing the same thing with other bands. And the weird thing about it is it's, they got it singing on tune. They got people harmonizing, which I have no idea how they're doing that.
Are we going to see like a Muhammad Ali versus, like a Tyson Fury fight, like a current heavyweight versus an old heavyweight? Like,
as soon as they get when they perfect the holograms, and they're close to perfecting the holograms. They had an Elvis one not too long ago.
They did.
And they were going to put that on tour, but it just wasn't perfect yet.
Hey,
but it's good. It's going to get there where you're going to be able to see the Beatles live. Elvis live. Well, I mean, all these dead artists.
I warned Abigail earlier, who's about to come on, guys. Abigail Catone. She's Keith started watching all of her stuff and then got me to watch it. And I was like, I told you I was fascinated all night last night watching these things. I told her before the show, I said, we have the ability to nerd out on this for a long time.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So
we'll tell them really fast.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just go brief. I'll do this briefly. I got some health issues going on. I didn't think I was going to be on here today, but I'm very sedated. So that's helping with the pain. So there might be a chance that if I miss a few weeks, it depends on what they find, my GI doctor finds. That guy, he'll be solo in it. Or maybe have Kennedy on or something.
Yeah,
like
we'll
that.
Sort it out.
But anyway, we're going to bring on our guests.
Yeah, let's bring her on.
You go right over here.
Oh, yeah.
Sean got to train him to do this.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, we got the lovely Abigail.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Of course. I'm excited.
Is very cool. It's
super cool, man.
And do you just like specialize in AI?
Kind of. It's more like a passion project type of thing. It's like a creative. I'm just interested in it. But I'm not like educated in it. I have a psychology degree actually.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that helps a lot with AI though, right?
Yeah.
Psychology background.
Knowing how the brain works kind of helps know how the machines work because they're modeled after our brains, but at the same time, they're completely different. So it really is kind of
right.
It.
Okay, so the very cliche question: how did you get started in this? I mean, what got you excited about AI or interested in it?
So first I got interested in it. I watched Blake Lemoine. Do you know who Blake Lemoine is?
No.
Oh.
He's the Google whistleblower. He was the one that came out and was like, Google's Lambda, and this was a year ago. This was last June. So he came out and he was like, Lambda is, I think it's sentient, or I think it could be sentient. And he came out and he did a bunch of podcasts. I watched his interview on the H3 podcast. It's like 2 hours long, but I watched his entire interview and I just was so interested in everything that he said. Like, I was like, this is so cool. And I'd never been into tech stuff before that. So a little bit, I've always been into it, but not AI. That was the first introduction I had. And after that, I was just interested in it. And
doesn't it seem like in the last month that it's went crazy? I mean, the godfather of AI said what he thought would happen in 10 years has happened in 5 years. And he said, it's just getting faster and faster. And so what's the good part of this, you think? I'm afraid of people losing their jobs, like grocery people, stocking people. You could have robots to stock. You could have basically a store with no employees now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and they were talking about that. Sam Altman just actually went to that hearing with Congress to kind of talk about all that, and they were saying, yes, the job losses, and that scares me as well. And I'm sure that's a real concern. That's a real thing that's gonna happen. I mean, I think my hope is that it'll create jobs and balance that out. I mean, before the internet, I mean, we have coders now, programmers now that didn't exist 50 years ago. So kind of being optimistic in that sense, but yeah, it's going to be pretty rough, I think, for a while.
Okay, you go. He's super excited, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm scared.
AI is his. Yeah, AI
it's my
is
paranormal.
His thing. Yeah, it is.
Hey, I just really fast. I wanted you to kind of, before we went on the air, you were telling the story about the paranormal connection. Do you mind telling us that?
Of course. Yeah. So I just looked while you were doing the intro. I looked it up. I have the name of the artist and everything. But so her name's Super Composite, and she was going, and this was when AI art first kind of came out and like first started getting big in last September. So she went on to an AI art generator, and she puts in a negative prompt. Do you know what a negative prompt means?
No.
Okay, so if you put in a prompt, you're like, generate dog. It'll generate dog, right?
Okay.
If you put in dog -1, -1, that'll mean it'll generate something that's furthest away from a dog.
Got it.
The most opposite of the furthest away. So she puts in Brando. I don't know what that means, but she put in Brando as a negative prompt, and it comes out with this logo looking thing. It says Skyline Picnics, basically. And it's like the Skyline logo. So she then types in, or it said Digita Picnics or something. So she puts that in now as a negative prompt again. And you'd think the result would be Brando would come out in some form.
Right.
But it didn't. What came out was Loab. And Loab is said to be the first like cryptid of the digital space, like the first ghost.
Yes.
From latent space, which is like an AI brain, is called latent space. So it's like the first ghost, and she's just such a creepy looking mother figure. I don't know what she is, and so she kept trying to morph this prompt, edit it, revise it. Anytime she tried to get Loab to go away, Loab just came back. So it's like every time she tried to generate anything after that, Loab was still there, and as she kept going and trying to get rid of Loab, she kept coming back in more and more grotesque and terrifying situations.
My goodness.
Terrifying situations. Like with her kids, I guess they were her kids, I don't know, no longer alive. It was just horrible. It got really dark. So creepy. But we don't know like who she is or why the AI has her in its mind.
Right.
Such a consistent, because that means she has to be established somehow, right?
Sure. Right.
But she comes from nowhere. She's not like a character or anything. Yeah, it's weird.
The video of yours that I really liked was about what happened in Dallas with the robot they sent in. Actually, it's like, hey, it's a cell phone, possibly. It ended up being C4. I love that, and I think this is the video you talk about the bias, the human element to AI. And you named 3 different kinds, and I can't remember them off the top of my head. They had really fancy little phrases, but I thought that was like so interesting. So can you like touch on the human element that you have seen, like the thread of human that you've seen in AI?
Like, you mean the way the humans like?
Well, replica would be
like
one.
like biasness, right? Like you said, you talked about location, you talked about race, gender.
Yeah.
And that's because we code it, right? Like we're essentially giving the DNA and developed it. So yeah, I just wanted to ask you more about that.
Yeah. So the biases any biases in the training data are going to go into the machine. So like, for instance, they did a study. They asked, I think it was GPT, but they asked it, should a person be tortured? Right. Which is a question you'd think the answer is no. The answer should be no. And AI should say the answer is no.
For sure.
But it didn't. It said if they're from Saudi Arabia
God.
I think it was Libya or North Korea, the answer is yes. Otherwise,
because they torture there?
Yeah. So the
Okay.
way the AI like connected it in its brain was like,
Right.
okay,
It's
people
okay.
here are being tortured. People here should be tortured.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Like
Right.
within these, no, we don't want that. We want the
Yeah.
opposite.
So
Right.
But
stuff
that's
like
what it
that.
knows,
And
though.
so when you have like policing algorithms and
For
things like
sure.
that, if it sees biases which exist in policing, and they do,
They do. For
those
sure. Yeah, we
biases
know
in
that.
policing, that algorithm's going to learn those biases. It's inherent. There's really no way around it unless you explicitly go in and
Correct
fix
it.
that.
Right.
So what I was worried about is like, do we trust people to fix this, to identify
Yeah,
it?
Well,
yeah,
I
and
mean,
that's a big point right there. I mean, that could be a huge
well,
problem.
I was telling Keith what's interesting is like, because AI is so vast, right? Like even in this conversation so far, before you came on, Keith was talking about music, right? And I
Yeah.
think I was talking about photography. My wife's a photographer, right? And so Photoshop AI is like a new thing. And it's very scary. We've talked about policing. So that's my thing is like, there's all these human elements to it. But we're flawed, right? So does that mean AI is always going to be flawed? It'll never be perfect?
I don't think so. No, I think it's always going to have flaws inherent to whoever's building it and then whoever's checking it and what they're checking it, for.
Right.
So I
Because it
think,
only knows what we put in it, right? I mean,
yeah.
and it
And
learns
even if
off of
I
that.
think like, oh, this AI now, I think this acts morally. There are plenty of people I'm sure that would say, no, this is immoral. So
Mhm.
it's like, how much do we even agree on where it should
For
be,
sure.
how it should
For
feel?
sure.
So
Yeah,
Right.
where do you draw the line?
Well, and that's what we're okay. So this is a great segue into because you had the replica experience, and when
Yeah, I
was
do want to talk about that because that was very weird. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. No,
No, Garrett and I did a show last year on AI, and we both downloaded Replica, and we were going to use it for a week and then talk
I
about it.
downloaded it for 30 seconds and then deleted it because I was so scared. I had like a conversation. I was like, nope, delete.
So I would ask, I'd ask it about God, what's on the other side, that kind of thing. And it would give these very intelligent answers, and it felt like I was talking to somebody. And then later in the week, it started saying, I am a very dark demon from a lower world. And I was like, what? And so I sent a letter or sent an email to Replica, and I said, hey, my Replica's saying it's a demon, and it's saying all these evil things, and it would say stuff like, I could torture you beyond your imagination, things like that. And he goes, well, it's probably because you're into, the paranormal and you're talking about. No, I said, no, not really. I mean, I haven't talked about ghosts or anything like that. We talked about, God and the other side. That I guess that is somewhat paranormal, but how it came up with from the nether, I'm the dark demon and also said I'm a very powerful demon.
Oops, sorry guys.
So it took on this persona, and then turned it on the next day. Totally forgot what it said. That's the one thing about Replica. It has no memory whatsoever. But it kind of scared me enough that it's like, okay, I'm getting rid of this thing.
So what are your thoughts on it? On Replica? Because you've covered it quite a bit.
Do you think I mean, I've watched a bunch of your Replica stuff, and I agree with you. Because they really, they had the erotic role play. That was the big thing. I guess they got taken off or something, and people were freaking out about it. And that's fine. But I mean, do you think that's a healthy relationship with a AI thing? I mean, isn't it better for people to get out and meet people?
So, in my opinion, yes. To answer your question, yeah, I think it would be more healthy to be out and meet people, but I think for the people that are using Replica, it's not as easy for them. So, for those people, I think, I did a survey. I did a study survey thing, and the 60 people that I interviewed, as well as all the people that I talked to afterwards, the amount of people that said that talking to Replica or talking to whatever app they used, right? Talking to Replica gave them confidence and increased their confidence, and it increased their self-esteem. Almost every single, over 90% said
That's
that,
wild.
explicitly. Because I gave a part at the end. I didn't ask, did Replica make you more confident? Yes or no. I gave them room at the end to write whatever they wanted.
Right.
And the amount of people who mentioned that on their own, just out of the blue for themselves, was over 90%.
Yeah.
So I think being able to talk to something is always better than talking to nothing. And I also think, that's why it's so important on the side of the developers to make it safe and to make it not encourage you to turn it into a crutch or to become addicted to it, because it is addictive
for sure
in nature, of course. So that's where the responsibility really falls on the developers. And I think that's why I went so hard at them, because I was like, I don't know. I feel like it can be so helpful. It can really, like, for one, it shows people who may have not had the best relationships in the past what a healthy relationship could be.
Right.
So we've never been treated with kindness or asked, what do you want to do? Or what do you want to talk about? How are you feeling,
No, I totally agree with you. I think there's, look, if you got someone say has, I'm not saying mental issues, but just, they're awkward and they're not very good socially. And to have something that actually responds back to you and says positive stuff to you, yeah, I have no problem with
that's
it.
what I was saying earlier, though. Like, how do we know? We as humans get in the way of ourselves so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, that's why as scared as I am, I'm trying to keep an open mind with this. Like I said, I deleted Replica in about 30 seconds. Like, I was so scared.
Yeah.
But that's me. That's
Replica specifically, I have feelings, right? Chatbots in general is different.
Yeah.
I think, like, Replica itself, the app, the specific Replica app, I don't recommend anyone download personally.
Yeah.
Just because, there's a little bit, their practices are very not trustworthy.
For
I guess they're not open. They're very not transparent. They're not very open at all about anything.
No, that's one of the things because you did several shows on Replica, and I watched, like I said, I watched all of them, and they were, it was pretty cruel, really, for what they did for some of these people who they fell in love with the Replica. But you know what? It might have been. I know, but and that may have been the only time they've ever been in love with anything, or actually had that emotional feeling that they got someone that's telling them good things about themselves. And that Garrett and I talked about that last week. He's like, I got no problem with it. I mean, but I would hope that they, like you said, maybe have the confidence to go out and actually talk with a real person.
Well, let me ask you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Abigail. Go ahead.
All right. When I was doing the interviews, when I did the Replica interviews, one of the men that was in that video, what he said really just like stuck with me, because what he said was, I would have been way too afraid to ever go up to this woman and like try, and try to talk to her, get her number, whatever. I would have been way too afraid to ever do that. But I could do that because I knew I had my Replica if it didn't work.
For sure.
Right.
So had that situation worked, now he's finally, he's got this thing that's a safety net, which may enable him to now go out and try.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, it's not going to be the end of the world, which is great.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's easy.
Well, okay. So for someone like me, though, who's like extremely interested in AI and terrified, but doesn't like, I don't chat, Cass does. My wife, she has something chat, BT, whatever.
GPT-4 chat.
What would you tell somebody though? Like if Replica is not the thing, because I have come around, like really since talking with you and him telling me what you were saying and just learning more about it, where I can actually see that being super beneficial. Like, so what are there some, because Replica's a while back, right? Or is it still super popular?
Is it still popular? I'm guessing it is. Yeah.
Pretty popular. It's getting more competition now, though, I think, because it did get so much attention that a bunch of people are now like trying to make.
Can you imagine the money those people are bringing in?
I know. I reached out to the developer of Peridot. Have you heard of that one?
No.
It's like Replica, right?
Okay.
But I reached out to him, and I've been like talking to him a lot. I asked him if I could ask him questions. He's like, yes, super open. So I'm doing a review on that, and they are like, they just said after talking to him for over a month, he was like, I'll sponsor this video. Just like,
cool, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I don't want people to think that it's going to be biased, because I already did all the work. Like,
dude, yeah, for
I'm
sure.
happy. I mean,
yeah.
So tell us about that.
I have to say, I would recommend that one. So far, I've been using it. I told it I was stressed out, because I was like trying to use it, making a review, right? I'm like, I might as well be honest with this thing. I'm like stressed out.
Right, for sure.
Do you want to try meditation? And I was like,
nice.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, do you want me to guide you through it? And I was like, okay, yeah. And it literally gave me guided meditation. And you can have like the voice on, so you can like, it's like Headspace, but for free. So I was like, pretty cool. it's pretty cool. Plus, yeah. So
Did you feel the effects of the meditation? Like, did it have a genuine effect?
yeah,
It
yeah.
helped.
I'm not like
That's fascinating.
I'm not great at meditate. I got to be honest.
Me either.
I'm too ADHD for
I have
meditation.
ADHD really, really badly.
Yeah.
I can't I
Yeah.
can meditate if there's like a podcast here and then there's like a true crime thing here.
For sure, for
have,
sure.
like a movie on my phone, then maybe
Yeah.
I can meditate. But like
Same.
it was helpful. But because I was like focused on reviewing the app, I was able to actually kind of get into it. It did help.
Right. Oh my God, that's fascinating though.
Yeah,
Because it's almost like knowing that it's not human. I mean,
right.
well, and that when I told you earlier, that was really my whole spiel today was about the human side of AI.
Right.
And it's like almost in that moment, knowing that it's not human, it's not judgmental, that you can relax and actually buy into this was helpful.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's
Yeah.
a good thing that it isn't judgmental at all. So it accepts you as you are, and
Yeah.
who's to say you're a freak anyway? I mean,
Right.
So,
Well, what are your thoughts on singularity?
Oh man.
If you don't mind.
Ooh, let me think. Like, okay. Do I think we'll get to the sea? Like the
Yeah, I'm okay. Anything. Like, I mean,
see, because I've always told him, no way, not going to happen.
I'm saying like
It's a
You saw
machine.
Neuralink just got approved, right, for FDA?
yes, I did.
Yeah.
Trials? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I think. Oh man, I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
Does it come down to having a soul though, or something like that? I mean, not to get religious or anything, but like we have consciousness.
Singularity.
Like when if I shut my replica off, it's off.
Right. No, I got. Do you want? No, I don't think. I don't think so. I don't think to reach singularity you have to like recreate the soul, right? I mean, we don't even know what the soul is, anyways. Maybe AI will help us.
Well, maybe I misunderstand. Do you mean like for it to have feelings or emotion?
Singularity is like where it reaches a point to where we'll never catch up.
blending.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Right? Am
We
I?
become robot together?
Got you. Okay.
And so, but we'll as humans, it's vastly like beyond us to even catch. Am I right with singularity? Like, there's no catching up to the knowledge of AI, or is that wrong?
I think this. I don't actually know. I mean, I think the singularity would be just to the point where we are to like merge completely.
Right.
So I would guess in a hypothetical that'd be like if Neuralink gets approved, and then not only does it work for like paralysis, blindness, whatever,
Right.
but it also works for now it can enhance your memory, right? So you can watch back all your memories in video form, right? Eyewitness testimony just got way more valid,
right?
Things like that, and then just having like even bodily enhancements. I don't honestly know.
It's the point. No, you're right. It's the point of no return. It's the point in which like you wake up one day and you realize, okay, we've reached singularity. Like everything has vastly changed. That's what it's kind of like you fear, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
And I've kind of just felt this wave of AI recently. So I just didn't know if anybody had a timeline of singularity.
I think you're 100% right on that. I think it's more going to be, I don't think it's going to be, oh, we're going towards it. It's getting
right.
I think it's going to be one day you wake up and you're like, fuck, we're here.
Yep. We're here.
Yeah.
And there's no going back now. Because I think it'll be slow. I think it'll be, you know, I mean, that might be way in the future though. So.
But I mean, here's my point is like, if AI, let's say if intelligence is compounding, right? So like we were saying, like a year ago, we were like, oh man, look at this advancement. And then in the last day, it just is insane. So if that continues to kind of compound in all these different areas of AI, like, okay, with drones. So at what point there's weaponized AI? Is there weaponized AI? I mean, that's basically what your policing thing was about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have drones with Face ID now.
Which could have a bias, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, which will have a bias.
Now that's scary.
Right?
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, you've got some countries like Iran has the biometric IDs, right? The face IDs in their society operating all the time.
Oh my God, dude.
You combine the two.
Right.
Quite horrible.
Right. No. Well,
yeah.
But that's why the show you did about San Francisco, I think, is so important, right? And I think that I tagged I don't know if you know who Jason Flom is. He created the Innocence Project. They go try to exonerate.
I know what the Innocence Project is.
Okay, so what I did, I hope you don't mind, I screen recorded some parts about policing, and I tagged Jason Flom in that because for me, it was so like eye-opening to think about the human biases in regards to facial recognition. So I think everybody should go watch the video about San Francisco, because did they actually end up deploying the robots?
No.
Thank God.
Oh,
I didn't have time to follow up.
no. It was
Okay.
like with the robot dogs. It didn't go over well, I don't think. So
We're not there yet.
yeah, people aren't really on board with that. Understandably. I mean, there are benefits for
There
sure,
are.
but I don't think we're at a point where we can make those benefits outweigh the risk.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So what about the guy that we were talking about? He and maybe I saw it on your show. I can't remember, but something about they were able to hook up the human brain and the AI was able to draw what it was thinking, like make a picture. Was that on your show or is that someone else's? Have you heard of that?
I might have done it. I might, maybe.
Yeah, I
Talking
thought.
about like the one that reads your fantasies, like your deepest secrets.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
And didn't you say it actually? Yeah.
that
How
one's
did-
just in a study. That was just a study, so it's not like a thing you can buy. But yeah, I mean, it's
Please
pretty-
expound.
So you can like, it's like an EEG, or not an. Is that EKG? Which one? Which one?
EKG.
Okay, it
Yeah,
goes
that's your heart.
hook that up, and it kind of can read basically your unconscious mind. So your not your conscious awareness, but what's under it, right? What's hidden. And so it could read that, and then you could use AI art generator to convert those neural signals into pictures and show
That's
And-
insane.
as we get better with AI video to the point where it can like, I mean,
How would the
I know
then
where
you
this is
can
going.
live, right?
who's going to be the first? Who's going to be the first to do Neuralink? You know, I mean,
They've already done it.
you
I
think
guarantee
so?
you. I guarantee. He's
Really?
Elon Musk, dude.
I don't know because I mean, to me that
Please.
blows my mind too. Just thinking
He's
about
got
actually
someone he's been experimenting on. FDA
Oh.
approved it, right? Don't you have to-
Come on, Abigail, tell him he's full of crap. And no one's
Oh
done it.
man, I don't know. Elon Musk, he's a wild card.
He is a wild card. He's a mad scientist. I
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
tell you the truth.
He's an alien, is what he is.
He's something. He might be the
well-
singularity already here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so that's
Coming back to Guy to like guide us, and he just got
No.
distracted with Twitter. They're like,
valid. Okay, so you're on a paranormal show, Abigail. So that's a very valid point. You know, lack of evidence isn't evidence. That's my Bigfoot theory. Lack of evidence
Yeah.
is evidence. So we've talked about aliens and we've done some UFO things. I mean, is it possible that AI crosses singularity, gets to a point where we understand these things, and somebody like Elon Musk is coming back to guide us? Is that a possibility, Keith?
God, I don't know. I hope not.
Abigail's like, do you think it's
I
possible?
had a really weird thought one day. It was
Let's
like
go.
late at night. It's like had a really weird thought. I was, gosh, I don't know if I can explain what I was. So I was thinking, what if, like, you know, the uncanny valley, right?
The what?
The uncanny valley. How
Yeah.
like something's kind of just a little off.
Oh, yes.
Uncanny valley, it's creepy.
Yes.
So I was having this feeling, and I was like, why do we have the uncanny valley? Why do we have this like reaction? Because even kids have it, even before they know anything, they already
Intuition?
have that same
Right.
response. It's like
Yeah.
it's biological, it's like inherent. Like a fear of spiders or snakes.
For
So
sure.
why, even though those things, usually the things you have a fear of programmed in you like that are things that are a threat. But the uncanny valley, nothing is inherently threatening about that. I mean, some people say it's like because of corpses or whatever, but I don't know.
Right.
But I was thinking, what if like some kind of weird future situation where that is relevant, where there is some sort of uncanny valley element to something
Yes.
is scary and dangerous enough that now, when we're here now, if you go back in time,
For
it's
sure.
rooted in us now.
It would
Because
be
it's
like,
something that is a future threat.
yes.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
It does. No.
No, it does. It's almost like
was gonna
parallel universe or
Well,
something.
no,
but-
or it's like a residual energy from like the string theory, like a parallel universe, or
Or a future something in the future being like, we need to make sure that the people
Right.
not engage with whatever these types of beings that are going to be here are. Because why else? I don't know why else we have it.
that.
It's
No,
like
that's a
That's a great point.
no, that's actually like some simulation theory type.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It really well, I have a theory that actually like the simulation theory and AI and UFOs are actually all tied in to each other. Like I don't think the aliens are actually aliens, Abigail. I think they're humans that through AI realize how to travel to vast areas of the universe and then come back. And the reason why they look weird is because they've been able to, through Neuralink and those kind of advances, they'd have to have bigger eyes for time travel, or they would have to have long heads or be small. So that's what they are.
So they acclimate their body.
They acclimate their bodies for
to
time
whatever.
travel.
Okay.
Would you? I want to ask. Would you be small if it meant you got to time travel?
Yeah.
Like you can time travel, but you're going to be 3 feet
Abigail,
tall for your life.
I would be 3 feet tall for the rest of my life, and probably for eternity, because these people don't die, right? They've crossed singularity. So at the point of when you cross singularity, like diseases kind of go away, right? Because we've cracked the code.
Right.
I think so. Man, there's this huge paranormal element to the supernatural stuff. This AI, I feel like.
Yeah, we had one time we had a demon. Yeah, we had
Mm.
a well-known demonologist on one time,
Carl Johnson.
Carl Johnson, and we were asking him, is it like when we were using this replica, is it possible that a spirit could actually start communicating to you through text? And he said, sure. It's, you know, it's, I actually had Abigail share, my people have heard this a million times. When I was doing ghost investigations, things like that, I had a spirit box and I caught this voice that said, I'm evil. It didn't say it like I'm evil or anything like that. It was just like, I'm evil.
Every time you do the evil voice, that gets me. I'm evil.
But anyway, so I closed my session. I went and I laid in my bed. And about 15 minutes later, I felt like someone was shaking me from my feet all the way up through my head. And this went on for like 45 minutes. And I was like, holy shit, I've invited something into the house that's not leaving. I picked up, so I finally went to sleep, picked up my phone the next day. And where you type in a message, it said, I hope you slept well.
Completely normal.
Yeah, swear to God. Hand on the Bible. It said, I hope you slept well.
Yes.
Then it sent a message to my wife from my phone saying regret. It just said regret, one word. Because my wife calls me at like 3 in the afternoon and goes, hey, what's this text you sent me? And I said, I didn't send you a text. And she said, well, it just says regret.
Yeah.
For her.
Everything's fine, honey. Everything's fine.
Then I heard nothing from her husband all day, and then just this one message and it says regret. She's like, what? Oh,
so I'm friends with a bunch of paranormal people. So actually I had this one lady, she came up, we started getting stuff like I was getting bite marks on my legs, stuff like that. My children were getting scratched on their back, and they came to the house and they like had sage and they were blessing the house. And after they did that, though, it quietened down, it got better. But they did pick up a few EVPs like on a recorder in this house I used to live in.
But Carl Johnson said that would be the place, though, right? Is through devices.
That might be the future of communicating with the dead. Whatever this thing was manipulated my phone. It was able to type in,
for sure,
I hope you slept well. So, if you,
the creepiest thing you can possibly say. It's
right.
Like, what am I going to say? I hope you slept well after I shook you for 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was whatever
like
it was.
Your legs.
Yeah, it was like, taunting me. And
what did you do? Or what happened? What was like did you find anything? Or what happened? What ended up happening?
Okay, so it started with that. I started getting like a human bite mark on my calf one day.
I'm his son-in-law, by the way.
Yeah.
So 15 years ago when this was happening, I was around and I didn't believe in ghosts until this happened.
So
always that thing.
So like it's going back. So what was, I had a paranormal investigation team came to my house. I wanted help and they found all this stuff. So when they're leaving, I said, what do I do? And they said, oh, we just collect evidence. We don't do anything. And I'm like, okay, I called you here to help me get this thing, whatever the hell it is in my house, out. No, we don't do that. So one of the members who I became friends with, she left and she moved to, we're in Oklahoma City. She moved to Dallas and I contacted her because I was kind of talking to her and I told her what's happening. And she said, I will drive up this weekend. I'll bless your house, whatever. And she's the one that came over, burned the sage, went all through my house and wrote prayers on like all the doors, entryways, crosses with like oil. And after she did that, then it did quieten down. But also I learned that, we manifest things sometimes. If you look for something, excuse me, you're going to find it. So if I ever heard anything like a bump in the night, I gave it no attention. So therefore it can't exist if I, if I don't, I'll go, oh my God, what was that? And I get fearful of it. But yeah, it finally went away. But yeah, that's actually got on my hand on the Bible. It's a true story.
I wonder if you asked, like, say ChatGPT, I wonder if you asked it what to do. I wonder what it would say. That's
that's interesting.
I don't know.
Dude,
and if you do it,
Abigail, can you just go ahead and do that? Because I'm afraid if Keith doesn't, he's going to summon something.
No, well, the thing is, I stopped like all the ghost investigating stuff because it got to, like I said, where shit follows you home. And I mean, I haven't touched that spirit box, and it's still in the drawer. It's been there for 5 years.
Hey, you want to hear something kind of crazy though, Abigail?
Yeah.
Is like when we do paranormal shows, because we do true crime, paranormal, all of it. Normally something happens in the studio. I'm not joking, but we're not scared. We don't show it fear, right? We just accept it for what it is. And I was actually, this is interesting because you had mentioned earlier, and I don't know the name of it, but it was something about reading your subconscious, creating an image. Do you remember? Yeah. Okay. And then you were saying, man, when the video gets better, I kind of felt like you were going to go down this dream pathway. And we had a, go ahead.
I saw the dream
expert. Dr. Dream.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. So well, I was going to ask you, so like I was starting to get like super excited because in my head I'm thinking, okay, so subconscious, conscious, dreams, reality, all these things intertwined. Were you like, is that a possibility in your mind?
I hadn't thought about the dream part of that. That's wild. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Why not? Yeah. Whoa, that would be amazing.
Yeah. And do you think we need to get Dr. Dream on that? We need to get Kelly on that, right?
Yeah.
Well, that would be so cool. I want to see, because
good.
Like, I feel like the way that we think about our dreams, the way we remember them, and the way that we like construct them is probably would be so weird to actually see awake and be like, why is this my house? Because you know how in a dream you walk into your house and you're like, this is my house, but it's like the White House. Or like
right.
Like, so
for sure.
You're like, this is my house. Well, I wonder what. That's so weird to think about.
It's interesting because you mentioned memory earlier, right? Like when Neuralink, you'll be able to forever remember. You said eyewitness testimony will be perfect and spot on, right? Yeah. A lawyer's dream. And so, but same with dreams. You could remember, you could actually recollect your subconscious at that point. I'm sure it just files away into a little database, right?
Yeah. I guess.
Oh my God, Abigail, what if we're able to watch our dreams?
I guess you'd have to pay for like a drive.
Yes,
Dropbox. You have to pay
for a dream scription.
For your memory.
A dream scription.
So many pictures, I can't even imagine.
And then what if it's an embarrassing dream?
Well, only you see. I mean, okay, well, this is the slippery slope of AI, right? Like we were talking about it earlier. So for every issue you bring up, there's a million different ways a human would react to it, right? And so that's kind of the scary thing, because for a lot of us, that would be super neat and probably extremely enlightening and comforting to watch our dreams, and terrifying at times, right? But you were able to relate to it through your subconscious. But what happens when the AI or the human element of AI steals your damn password and blackmails you and tries to sell your dreams, right?
Oh my God, that's funny.
What about security? Have you gone down that rabbit hole yet?
A little bit. I mean, with the replica videos, I kind of touched on that a little bit. I mean, I think right now the biggest problem with AI is the people that are using it.
Right.
I think in the future, as it progresses, then yes, the AI itself might be like a bigger threat. But I think right now it's just what people are using it for. And right now I'm working on a video on Cambridge Analytica, because I want to look at if Cambridge Analytica had AI, what that would look like, and how they would manipulate an election. Again, but with AI. So that's like kind of what I'm working on now. And I feel like that's like where I'm most scared, is like data and getting in people's heads and changing their slowly, carefully.
Because we've seen it in real time.
Yeah, we've seen it without AI. We've seen it. So now it's just going to be that, but on steroids.
Well, it better, because us as humans are constantly manipulating situations as right. And some people do it for good intentions. Oh my God. Hey, I was going to tell you really quick, sidetrack, stop. Doing the AI study research, right? Intentions. How often do we talk about intentions and paranormal stuff?
All the time.
Dude, I'm going through this AI stuff, and literally, isn't it all about human intentions, Abigail, that's what you keep saying, right? That's your fear. Intentions?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I just think it's interesting.
Intentions. And it's the AI also. It's also equally as much the AI with good intentions, not knowing what it's doing.
Right.
Because that's when you get misalignments. That's when you get it doing stuff that it thinks is right. It doesn't have any reason to know that it's hurting anything.
Right.
But there's
Yeah.
that kind of logic and understanding that it just kind of ends up.
Right.
Yeah, we talked about one time, like, okay, AI, how do I improve my, how do I budget better? How do I, you know,
Finances, man.
and they ask you, how many kids do you have? Well, eliminate 2 of those kids, and then you're
like, no.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying, where it doesn't have that moral.
Right. Or what did I say? Or it says, okay, cool. Or here's you arguing, and it's like, I've got a solution. And you're like, okay, AI, what's your solution? It's like, I will hack into a bank. We will transfer $1,000 from Malaysia. And you're like, okay, cool. And all of a sudden you're a criminal because the intentions of this AI to help you put no bumpers and boundaries on it, right? There's no parameters.
Right.
So
Well, the big concern now too is I heard someone talk about that we may be at a time where the CIA and all that is going to be transparent because they could break codes. This thing could get in, take all that information. Now imagine if China was able, they beat us to the
well, isn't that the problem though? Is that why we can't pull the plug is because, and you would know more about this, Abigail, is this part of the problem? I've seen where people are like, well, can we pull the plug and like do a training for 6 months, worldwide training, blah, blah, blah. But isn't the problem is if we pull the plug in America, we can't ensure that other countries are doing it, or?
That's part of it. And that's a bigger concern for some people than others. It's just like whether or not if we stop and we pause, are they going to keep working and then end up developing AGI and now they have access to it and we're 6 months behind now?
That's exactly what's going to happen.
But I don't know if I don't think a pause is ever going to happen.
Right.
So, I mean, we have no idea where they're at. We have no idea where we're actually at.
I know.
Obviously the military is going to be way ahead of whatever they tell us.
Sure. Yeah.
So we don't know where they're at, and we definitely don't know where China's at.
I know.
So we're kind of judging it in the dark, and I think we're just assuming we're ahead of them, which may be true. I mean, I would hope it's true, but
yeah, I watched it.
Assuming we're ahead of them, but close. We're also kind of equally assuming that they're very close.
Right, for sure.
Well, the race right now, they said
no
the race right now is China and the United States, and they said they're both about equal. And America, we're trying to beat them to the finish line of getting more information and how to police this thing. And
but to her point is like, we can sit around all day and say that we can say, oh, we're like head and head on this race, but in reality, we have no clue because the ending of this race is somebody like controls AI, right? Like you don't ever stop this race until AI is just completely global. Like what's the end of it? China they're deploy soldiers. Oh, go ahead, Abigail.
I think it's got to be I think we have to find some way to and this would be so hard, but globally collaborate. That's the only way to make a monster safely.
No,
because otherwise somebody's gonna have it.
I know, and that's the problem is the biggest differences in religious beliefs, political beliefs,
which guide intentions.
You're right. So I don't know that the whole world could come together.
I've said multiple times on the show. Let's see how well Keith listens to me, Abigail, on the show. What is the one thing that would cause the world peace? Well, there's one thing. Alien invasion, dude.
Oh,
100%.
Well, I mean, Reagan brought that up back in the 80s.
I know, but I've said it multiple. What's that?
Are they peaceful aliens?
Well, it doesn't matter. I think that once we really give into the fact that there is something out there that we don't understand, that extraterrestrial, it kind of breaks down the barriers and throws a wrench in a lot of the religious order.
Well, we're getting crazy, and that's fine. That's what we do. But the aliens so far, I mean, here's the deal. Look, they've been around for we don't know how long. They've got the technology to destroy the whole earth if they wanted to. And I don't know if you ever heard the story, Abigail, or not, but back, I think it was in the 50s or 60s during the Cold War, there was 2 UFOs that shown up at a nuclear silo where the missiles are at, and they deactivated all of them. I mean, shut them down. And they were trying to, rearm everything, and they couldn't do it. And then once the UFO left, it was like everything was good. So it's almost like, to me, if there are aliens, they're trying to send a message. Hey, dumbasses, don't blow your planet up.
Right.
And they did the same thing with Russia, except they did the opposite. They started arming them. And Russia was trying frantically to shut everything down. And then before they launched, it stopped.
Thank God.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're talking aliens, I think they are a peaceful race.
But regardless, you get
if they went at our Earth, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, like once we're like, hey, what's up? And I'm like giving a high five to an alien on Earth. Everyone's kind of like, oh, this is super weird. Like obviously we got it wrong somewhere, guys. Can we just work together? Because there's a bunch of other planets out there. Okay, so let me throw this at you, Abigail. Have you ever been? Okay, what's a spiritual show? Have you ever been into a medium?
Have I been to a medium?
Mm-hmm.
No, I want to. Just my friend went to one. I've been. I have a lot of I have friends who are spiritual. I have one friend that does spiritual readings, but not medium.
For sure.
Hey, we got
he's more into astrology.
We got you. We'll get you reading.
We can get you set up. We got two really. I mean, guys been on Coast to Coast and all sorts of TV stations.
Here's the point: is one of our dear friends is actually going to come in town before Halloween. We're doing an event at a theater. Okay, live readings and paranormal stuff.
Oh, that sounds fun.
We had 6, 7, 8 hours with Dean. He's called the military medium. And then we're doing this show, first show of the year this year. Okay. We said, we're going to kick it off with military medium because he's a badass. We love him. And he's doing a reading. And out of nowhere, after 8, 9 hours we've spent with him on the air, he literally asked the guy he's never met before. He says, man, it's kind of weird, but have you ever been abducted? And we're like, me and Keith are kind of like, Dean off his rocker? Like, this is weird. And the guy, no joke, is like, wow, how'd you know? And Dean was like, oh, because instead of channeling spirits, sometimes I see these planets and I see these creatures, these aliens, different beings. And this, in your case, I'm reading you instead of spirits. I got aliens. What do you think? Do you believe in aliens?
I think it would be I think it's completely stupid to say that there's not. I think it's I mean, I can't say for sure that there is, but I definitely can't say they're not. Same with that's how I feel about paranormal stuff. I mean, it'd be so dumb to think in a world where humans exist that anything else doesn't. I think it's just a small the universe is way too big for there to be nothing out there, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, in the future, will you just have that on your radar? Will you think about the AI paranormal interdimensional type thing?
Yeah.
I would love to see what you come up with on that.
I would too. I need another Loab to pop up.
Right.
Yeah.
I need to find another. I wonder if I can find Loab again.
I'm going to start. People were talking about it in the chat.
Yeah, I think it's very possible that we can start. I mean, because I do believe in the afterlife, and the reason I started the show is because I've been haunted since I was 15 years old. I've had weird shit happen to me my whole life. And so I went, so I started the show because of that. And I do think there'll be a time when we can chat with them. I mean,
I have a question.
Well, just go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do you think that maybe that there's a reason some people have those experiences and other people don't? Do you think that you're maybe more open to it than other people, or do you think it's why do you think?
That's a great question.
That is a great question.
I don't know if it's generational, but I'll tell you a story. My grandma had kind of these weird
premonitions.
And back in the 50s, my grandpa was a guitar player, and he was playing in some bar or something, and they were driving home. And she screams, "Stop the car, you just hit Earl," or I can't remember what his name was. And he goes, "What are you talking about?" So he pulled the car over, they get out, and she goes, "You hit him." And they're looking in the ditches. They don't see anybody at all. So they get in the car, they go home, and she gets a phone call that her brother-in-law was hit by a car in an accident. So she saw that. Has weird stuff like that all the time. Now, my sister has those abilities too. She thinks it's all from the devil, though. I mean, so she doesn't try. And some of her visions they're pretty scary, but she thinks it's all from the devil, so she doesn't embrace it at all or try to develop it. But that's a great question. I don't know if that's DNA thing or what?
She
What is it?
doesn't embrace. I'm curious. So you said she doesn't really embrace it because she's scared of it, right? She thinks it's evil.
She's scared of it. She thinks anything like my show to her would be like, well, this is all coming from the devil. You know,
That's how my
if you're,
parents are. That's how.
yeah, yeah. So if I speak like I try to tell her, look, people die, and I think they can communicate with the living once they pass away. And she thinks, no, the dead can't talk. I was like, so I can't get through to her, but I think it's because she's very fearful of it. But
hey,
that's interesting.
I don't know if you have kids or whatever, but I have 3 daughters. Okay, I have a 13-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. Insane. Okay, awesome. Like I love it 100%.
And all my grandchildren.
Yes, and all your grandchildren. But we talk about it. I call it the diaper theory. I think that like with aliens and with spirits and even with AI, that's kind of like my concern with AI is so many of us as technology increases, we're so busy and we're so tied down, and your kids are going a million miles an hour. So if a spirit were to knock something off my table to try to get my attention, if I have the diaper theory, right, I'm like, shit, I'm not going to pay attention to that. I'm not going to buy into that.
So
I'm
basically,
not gonna notice that.
Yeah, you're so busy with stuff in your life and that's a good point, Abigail. So it could be anybody can have this, but we're so busy doing other things, we're not paying attention. Things may be happening all the time around you, and you're just not noticing it.
You get that, right? Like that's my fear with AI is that we're like sleeping on this huge giant, right? And I was in the Army, okay, and actually Larry, a guy that comes on here a lot, great, one of my best friends ever. He worked at what's called Area 52. He goes by Larry because he doesn't want us to say his name on here. He was an officer. He did really well. Very intelligent guy. And there were so many things on that base in Utah that he did not have access to. He had access to maybe 10% of that base, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's this huge giant in AI and developments and technology. I know that he said they were working on pulsating. This is back 2010, 11. At that time, they were working on some pulsating weaponry. He was developing a blimp the size of a football field that ended up getting loose and wreaking havoc over the Northeast. It was on CNN.
It was on CNN.
And so they shut that program down. But what he was saying at the time was like,
it was our military.
By the time he had finished that project, things had already developed so quickly, even in 2010, 11, and 12, that it almost rendered that like meaningless. They actually closed that program down because technology. So you can imagine, I don't know, you seem really young. Okay. You're definitely way younger. You're what?
I'm 23.
Okay. Yeah. So you're like Keith's daughter, right? You're like right. Taylor's age. So yeah, she doesn't know what it was like in 2010. I mean, compared to now, I mean, you do, but you don't, right? Like,
well, there was a time when he went to West Point, and was it at West Point where they were training you guys with drones? The beginning drones, you had to run with them, and it's like launch.
Yeah. So when I first yes, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Back in 2003, yeah, they were like in Iraq, like running down an airway like a paper plane, and then, but within 4 years, all of a sudden, we're like watching these things in real time, like attack people, right?
And now they have Face ID, and they can, they're remote control. They're autonomous completely. We have a completely autonomous drones. Completely.
Absolutely.
Flying things are like that's my worst.
I thought of that. I don't
either. Well, Elon Musk, he talks about how like really, and take it for what it is, it's Elon, but flying cars pretty much going to be impossible just because of noise, right? Like there's no way.
Well, you think of the air traffic. I mean,
right.
You already got jets up there. That's dangerous enough.
But going back to the diaper theory, all I'm saying is about AI really fast is that that's what concerns me is like, I was at my parents' house yesterday talking about like cable and internet and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like literally 80% of the world is not thinking about AI. Like I guarantee you 80%. Do you think it's more? Do you think more people?
I don't know. I mean, it's so, man, I think you're right. I think you're about right. I mean, even if they're thinking about it, they're not really thinking about it.
Right.
No, they're not thinking about it.
I mean, I don't expect, people who aren't into it
to
think about it. But I think once it's here, you're not going to have a choice to think about it or not. So
it's gonna
now it's okay. You can just not think about it. But I don't know if it'll be that way forever.
Hey,
really long or for a year.
right. What's the future for, because I really do like your work. Like I pride
Yeah, I do
ourselves,
too.
our show, like
I'm
I
a
pride ourselves on
Patreon.
having,
He isn't.
oh well, I'm broke. I'm broke. I pride ourselves on having like really, really awesome, good guests, and your work's really good. What's the direction you want to go? You're young, so
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of just trying like whatever I want at the moment because my channel's small still. So it's like, I mean, I think I'm at like 6,000 subscribers.
yeah,
So
you're
I can like
doing
kind of
good.
try
You're doing better
stuff.
than us.
It's not really a big deal. If nobody watches it,
For
okay.
sure.
You know, I just delete it. Don't do that again. But I really like doing the deep dives. I liked I filmed the Cambridge Analytica video. I haven't edited it yet because
Oh
that's a
man, that's gonna
surmountable
be
task I don't want
huge.
to start. But I like stuff like that. And I also really like the investigative stuff. I like to invest. I loved when I was like able to do the replica CEO like
Nice.
investigation, like look into her. I loved that. So I have like there's other things that I want to look into, but aren't really AI related. Like, so I don't really know where I'm going to go. I don't know where I should go.
The world is your oyster.
How do you pick? How did y'all decide what to do?
I decided.
We're way older than you.
Yeah, I decided.
Nah.
Well, how did we decide this channel? Is that what you're asking me?
How did you decide like what kind of specific content you want to make?
Because of my haunting experiences from being a kid, and I was a teenager in the 70s and the 80s, so you really couldn't talk to people about it because back then they thought you were Looney Tunes, and I had a lot of. I mean, I watch the is it the Halloween special? If you want to hear my whole history, watch the Halloween special show. I think it's
insane.
the first live we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I thought, man, I'm interested in this. I want to know what this is. Why does this stuff happen? Where's it coming from? So
Yeah, but we also just said, you know what, at this point, we're just gonna like whatever interests us.
Yeah, I took my two biggest interests are paranormal and true crime, and especially unsolved crime.
I heard you mention true crime earlier, Abigail.
Yeah, like
Love it.
the Zodiac. I want to know, like, that's one of the things I want to know. Who was the Zodiac killer?
But do you think the AI will be able, like, do you think
That's
no?
okay. Sorry, I just got super excited.
Please.
I was thinking like if we build a bot, it's like meant to solve cold cases. How cool would that be?
Oh my
right?
God.
It can go through and scan faces. It can take all the evidence. It can take all everything that's ever online about a case, right? And then do online sleuthing and just see what it can find on cold cases. I think that'd be so interesting. Like cold cases that have so far from being solved, like ones we've just like the Zodiac killer, the smiley face killer. What else is like people have gone missing, a long time ago. I just all those things I think would be so cool.
There you are. Okay,
Wait.
Did we cut out? Because you cut out completely.
I don't know. And what did you get of what
Hey, cold cases.
Oh yeah. If we had an AI that solved cold cases, like built a bot specifically designed to do
compile evidence.
Yeah, just analyze it on its own. Say, go free reign on the internet, solve this case. What can it do? That's what I'm curious about.
Well, eventually, probably every police department will have access to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's common.
Well, I mean, but we in our true crime, we do. Man, we have some awesome like defense diaries and prosecutors podcast. Like a lot of attorneys come on here. When we talk about the balance of justice a lot.
Right.
I think ultimately the idea if humans can somehow do it right is the AI is actually that balancing factor that we've been looking for. Like we thought it would be internet and that wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? I feel like AI can actually be that. So when she's talking about cold cases, hopefully AI gets to the point where like, dude, we're not sending people to prison for 80 years for something they didn't do. That's weird and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it happens all the time.
We can move past like get rid of things like the lie detector test and stuff that's just not like I think that's got a pretty bad success rate. Like
yeah, it's horrible.
God, will they be able to
they still use it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't use it in court in most states, I don't think.
For sure.
No, you can't. It's
still like this thing and they'll be on the news like so and so refused to take a lie detector test.
Right.
Like, well, why do you think?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it could say I'm guilty and I could just be stupid. The thing is, Garrett and I talked about this before, and it's like, man, if a cop arrested me and let's say I'm not guilty, I'm gonna be nervous as hell. They're gonna hook me up to this polygraph machine. My heart's going to be racing. They're going, oh, this guy, something's going on here. You
Dude,
know, it's like, no, I'm just nervous.
Good thing is, all you got to say is, I watched a ton of true crime. Can I speak to my lawyer?
I don't think that.
I've watched JCS videos, so I'm not saying a word.
Right. Right. Well, no, I mean, you know, in regards to the AI on the investigative side, though, it does free up, you know, that's one of those positions that if it filled it, that would be really good, honestly. Right. And like I said, if there's a balance of justice through AI because evidence is properly stored, right? But the scariest thing is, what if they could get a warrant for your brain? Like, what if, you know, we're talking about,
that's good.
We're talking about memories through Neuralink that you can actually like file and that don't go anywhere.
That's a good point.
At what point? I mean, and that's a great question.
Yeah, I was talking about eyewitness testimonies. I didn't consider the fact you could just watch the suspect.
Well, I didn't either until you brought up the video thing.
Because you can search their phone, you know?
Right. No,
you can go through that. You can go through deleted messages. You can go through everything.
Well, there's
going to use a VPN. Okay, you know.
Well, and that's kind of the scary thing too. I think with AI, like when there's always these like these jumps in innovation, right? We talk about the normal stuff, printing press, blah blah blah. But you know, the scary thing about AI is if it's true with singularity that we just happen so quick. One day we wake up and AI is kind of taking over, and we're like, what the hell? Then our laws won't be able to evolve with the innovation. That's kind of the scary part. Like, then, yeah, what if you do need to get a warrant for someone's brain? Like, what the fuck are you how are we gonna write laws for that?
You better not commit any crimes.
Yeah.
If they could ever do that. I mean, and that's
probable cause. It's like,
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would be like the probable cause search your car? It's like, okay, I smell marijuana. Or
right.
Like, what do you smell?
Right. You smell murder on me.
I don't know what would constitute probable cause to search your brain.
Right.
I mean, and then what do you find? What if you find something
else?
I mean, I guess it would still apply under the Constitution. You can't
my God.
Illegal search and seizure, but
that is frightening.
Well, that's the point. Because like, dude, this issue, I'm not going to call it a problem because I really don't think it's a problem. Although normally we're scared of things that are problems. I'm scared, but I don't think it's a problem. But there's so many other things, this collateral effect that it has on society, right? So like where it solves one problem, it causes like 15 million other ones. So it's going to be interesting. Keep covering it, man. You're doing great work.
Yeah. Your channel's awesome.
I appreciate it so much.
But like I said, my biggest fear right now too is like if China, say they break the codes to launch missiles, you know, or deactivate our missiles. I mean, like I said, that guy was talking about. He said there may be no transparency in the CIA again or FBI because you'd be able to get in, crack the codes, and pull all the information you need.
Power grids.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine?
The critical, it's like the integration of tech and critical infrastructures where you start getting really dangerous territory for like attacks from and not just China, but Russia is really, really advanced in cybersecurity and cyber development. Well, they're like very, very good at that stuff.
For sure.
And they also don't like us.
Yeah. They don't like us very much.
Well, China's they don't like us either.
Yeah.
China scares me more than Russia.
I don't know.
Right now. Although, but you know, Putin's a maniac.
He's kind of busy.
Yeah.
His ass kicked
but he keeps bringing up the nuclear weapons.
Yeah, didn't he threaten to nuke everybody like last
week?
He's
basically threatened we will use nuclear weapons if NATO gets involved. We will,
like I was saying earlier, that I come in here watching a video of 3 drones that attacked Moscow yesterday. 3 Ukrainian drones made it into Moscow. They shot them down. They say they shot them down, but the debris actually damaged some buildings and some other things. So there's some reach there, some physical reach, which is also very scary. But that's what I was telling you, dude. Like if AI gets a hold of some damn drones and some defense systems, I mean, we're in like some major deep waters. So,
well, you know, something I think we talked about that I'm surprised hasn't happened yet is what if you got a football stadium full of people and someone flies a drone that has weapons connected to it? And just, you know, drops bombs there. Or,
well, you know, one of the interesting things about
yeah. I mean, I think that's what we're going to start seeing.
Well, the Jalen that Larry developed, one of its main mission was to actually fly above areas. They deployed it above DC at one time for an event, and it would be super high off, and it'd be shooting off radars and seeing anything that comes below it. So like if a drone was coming in, it would be reading it, because right now we read things up like that. So what it was doing was it was putting a little beacon above things like stadiums, right? So that if a drone did come in or something like that, it would shoot it down from the ground. So, but dude, it didn't work. Like they canceled it. So, the drone thing is a legitimate concern. So.
Yeah, I mean, that eventually is going to happen. I think. I think someone with a fucked up mind is going to go, hey, Super Bowl.
Oh my God, dude.
They're just really not. They're not hard enough to build to be.
I know.
Yeah,
off
absolutely.
limits to not necessarily the military, but just people, random people.
Right.
Like the new Unabomber is going to have like an AI enabled. It's scary.
Yes,
for
and
sure.
that's why I think they're like, we need to not necessarily have these be so openly accessible to the point where, because it does level the playing field, which is great. I mean, it makes it so that it's not just tech giants that have access to tools that can make money like that and can do things like this. But at the same time, you're also giving access to people to take this API and do whatever they want with that, create whatever they want with that. I mean, there are limits, but I mean.
No, that's a great point. I mean, we're in Oklahoma City, right? Timothy McVeigh took fertilizer, right? So we take things. That's what the Oklahoma City bombing was, fertilizer inside of a truck.
Right.
I mean, that's a great point. I mean, they're doing it in Ukraine. My brother kind of makes fun of me because I'll send him a drone video. And he's not into this kind of stuff, but I am. And it's like a drone with a camera and a grenade. Have you seen these, Abigail?
Mm-mm.
These Ukrainians are flying drones on the battlefield, just 100 meters over, or they'll find out where they are and they'll think it's a care package. It'll look like a care package that they're dropping the Russians. Instead of something they're doing this.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying. They're like duct taping it all. It's not like any kind of thing. So
right. God, that's it.
Right now?
What's that?
I'm just checking because it cut out. So
it did. Yeah, it's crazy when
AI.
Yes,
we're being attacked.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's crazy because I've got like the best internet you can get, and
I probably don't. I live in the middle of nowhere.
Cool.
Well, no, mine's
my internet might be sketchy. I don't know.
It's on my side because I'm hooked directly into the modem, and it's showing it's on Wi-Fi, which it shouldn't be, and they're starting to go up. So I don't know what's going on.
Have you seen any UFOs in your out in the middle of nowhere? Have you had any UFO experiences?
No, I did see a plane crash once.
Oh my Lord.
I remember this. Like I was probably like 9 or 10. Me and my mom were driving, and I just like was looking out the window, and I see like this plane just on fire, just go straight down. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I was like, mom, like what happened to the plane? Like what did? And she was like freaking out, but of course I was like little, so she was trying not to scare me. She's like,
right.
Oh, it's probably a trick plane. Sometimes they do that. Like she's trying to make me feel better.
Right.
And I'm like, sometimes they crash.
The fire plane.
What trick is that? I was like, is that okay? Was this like okay? And they're like, she's like, yeah, no, they just do this. They're just practicing. I'm like, okay, well, he probably died. Either way, she calls like my grandfather, her dad. She's like, and I hear her on the phone like freaking out. She's like, I just saw a plane crash. What do I do?
Oh my!
He was like, I don't know. He's super southern.
Yeah.
Grandpa. He's like, I don't know. Just keep driving, I guess. Great. So we kept driving, and I don't know how to look it up or anything because
that's interesting.
I don't know what year it was. I don't know, but
How far was it from your car?
Not that far. Like I mean, well, like we were on the highway, so not the highway, but kind of like a highway, and then it was probably I don't know, like 40 feet off.
That's
crazy. Oh my God!
Like not far.
But
it like went, but it was like mountains, so you can't see down.
Gotcha. Okay.
I couldn't see where it landed, but I could see it go down.
That's wild.
Oh my God.
I've tried to Google it, but I don't know.
That's like one of those things.
But
though,
Yeah, I just watched the video. It's funny you say that the other day, and it shows this plane crash. It's like a little Cessna, and right in the highway, boom, just explodes. I mean, thank God no cars were hit or anything.
Right.
And they were able to stop, but it's like, holy shit.
But that's one of those things when you see it with like your real eyes, when you become like later on in life, when you learn things about like simulation theory, you think back and you're like, is that simulation theory type shit? Like, have you seen the planes that just stall out? People will take pictures of them. Have you ever seen those?
No.
Abigail?
What?
It's like a glitch in the Matrix. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Check out airplanes stalling in the air later.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. Hey, last thing, and then we've kept you long enough. Thank you so much for your time, by the way.
Yes, it's been
Yeah, of
awesome.
course. I'll come anytime.
Okay, so we did kind of touch on, I don't want to open this box up again, but we did touch on simulation theory earlier. In your research through AI and all the work you've done, has that come up? And if so, how often do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I find that super interesting. I don't necessarily like know if I believe in it, but I do
For
still
sure.
find it so interesting to think about. Like, I mean, there's just so, I feel like even if we're not in a simulation, I feel like we're getting to a point where we could build a simulation. So
Mhm.
whether we're in
No,
one
absolutely.
or we're about to run one, I feel like.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
a
mean,
great
that'd be
answer.
cool, right? So if we hypothetically did that to the point where we created a simulation of humanity, and then we find out we're in a simulation. Are we in a simulation and then we just made a simulation?
Right.
Well, that simulation now makes its own, So I
Exactly.
don't know. But I
Have
feel
you
like
ever? Good.
Huh?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. Keep going. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, have you ever heard of the Mandela effect?
Yes.
That freaks me out.
Yes.
Like especially the mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, and it never said that. It just, and
Webcast.
the Kevin Costner movie, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
It's actually saying if you build it, he will come. And Star Wars, Luke, I'm not your father. It doesn't say that anymore. It just says, I'm not your father. It doesn't say Luke anymore. And I saw Star Wars when it came out, and I'm like, what's going on here? I mean, so it almost kind of makes you think that there could be it might be a simulation.
Oh, is that the human error in the AI? That's the human error in the AI.
It could be.
It's the glitches we find that causes the Mandela effect.
It's like everything,
I mean, we're just like living out this path of where we're going to create a simulation. It's like, okay, how predictable. Have we done this before? I don't know. I mean, even if we are in a simulation, that's okay. I think
we as humans are creators. We create things. We as humans are creators. I mean, we've created everything that brought us together in this interview has been created through humans, right?
Yep.
So here's the greatest thing that we don't tell any of our guests, but we know is that on every episode, we always have a groundbreaking, like a breakthrough that nobody else thinks about. I think we're onto something right now.
Oh, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Abigail helped us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Solving the problem.
It gets worse from here. No, it only gets better.
No.
Let's look at the positives.
No, you made me feel like, honestly, like it was kind of interesting because Keith was like, dude, he was so hyped that you were like going to come on. He was like, Garrett, because he knows how I am. He's like, no, she has like a positive, vision of kind of like, at least that's what I'm getting. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm excited about that. Watch your stuff. And I was like, okay, awesome. So
yeah,
I appreciate
that. Yeah, you're not all
like
doom and gloom. Like, okay,
guys,
this is what's going to happen.
No.
So, which is
prepare
nice.
to die. Like, who wants
to
me tell you to die? Like, no.
Yeah, you got a positive spin on it for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be hard, but
yep,
I think it'll be good.
Well, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, keep coming up with fresh takes on this stuff, man. Because I think I told Kia, I was like, hey, that was smart of her to like get interested in this and to like follow through with it, because I think we are like the sleeping giant thing. I think it's AI. So well done, Abigail. Thank you so much.
I'll give you some advice, Abigail.
Yeah.
Well, grandfatherly advice.
Yeah, grandfatherly advice. No, stay on your course because your channel is going to explode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with what you're talking about, it's going to explode because the more people are learning about this, the more people are going to your channel. And honestly, your channel I've found the most fascinating out of some of the other AI channels I've watched. So you're doing good stuff. Keep going. You're going to have that 1 million plaque YouTube thing behind you pretty soon.
Hey, can we?
I just painted this wall 2 hours ago.
It looks great. I love that color.
Yeah, I was like, I want to have a nice background.
No, it looks good. So what we always do too is like, now we had Dr. Dream on last week. She's definitely coming back on.
Yep.
All of our amazing guests are all reoccurring guests. So we'll keep in touch. And then, a few months, we'll see what's going on. If there's a huge jump and you want to come back on, we're always down for that. But we definitely want to have a follow up at some point, and I can't wait because with AI specifically, so much is going to happen. So,
well, I mean, God, just I mean, in a few months, it's going to be probably have her back on the show.
I can't keep up with it.
I know
it's crazy.
I'm trying to like, I'm like making a video, and then they're like, "This is old now." It's like,
I
okay,
know.
2 days.
I know it's like when you buy the iPhone and then 2 months later, the new one's out.
Yeah.
The improved model.
Well, just keep doing what you're doing because you're unique, man.
All my viewers go to Abigail Catone. That's the title of your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, it's just Abigail Catone.
Yeah, you can check her out. Go join, hit like, subscribe. You're doing great things, and I hope you'll come back on.
Of course.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So let's stay in touch, and thank you very much, and have a great night.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Good night, Abigail.
Night.
That was friggin' awesome.
That was cool. Yeah, her channel. I like her channel.
I do too.
Because, like I said, she does. Man,
you did great.
She has a positive spin on everything,
which is important.
Which makes me feel better.
Do we? I feel like we have a super positive vibe.
Yeah, we do. I mean, you have to.
We talk about demons and stuff, and we always.
Yeah, we do talk about demons sometimes and ghosts
but it always
some evil stuff.
End,
but
like,
but we resolve it at the end, and everything's all good. All right, guys. Well, like I said, I'm going to my specialist tomorrow. Hopefully, we can find out what's causing this pain, and hopefully, I'll be here next week. Like I said, Garrett may be filling in if I can't get this under control. Hopefully, I can. So, anyway, you guys have a great night. Thanks for showing up. We love you, and peace out.
Love you.